Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today we're going to be going through the next section of creating this chiptune style track. Here is a preview of what we're going to accomplish. This is the preview. I'm about to show you what we just made. We didn't make incredible strides as far as doing it. We finished the song structure, and I explained some things about theory and give you some pieces to go look up. That would be kind of good examples of some of the techniques I use here. So I'm going to play it for you. The structure's done. Most of the sounds are there. May add pieces throughout. And then the next video will probably be a mix down. So without further ado, here you go. Nice. So that's the song. There's definitely some pieces I'm going to change around, fix up. Some of the stuff will sound a lot more grooving after the mix down. But there's some weird stuff. I probably will just do that off screen, just fix up little things that just take listen throughs and eat up just a lot of time. But it's kind of necessary to just get a feel for where the track is at. Okay, now that you've seen the preview, I have no idea what I am going to do, but I am aiming to finish the arrangement section. So a couple of things you should be aware of. I added a couple of things since we last spoke. The first thing I did was I figured out what the jank went wrong with the fill, and I figured it out. It was not the note delay off command, because that was very confusing. It was the bypass command. I automated the bypass command funny, and that's why it sounded the way it did. And I believe if I remember, I'm not sure if I have it because I haven't edited it yet, but I will be sure to put that in the video edit if I remember about that thing because it's sort of a small thing. So I may forget. But anyways, some of you guys will figure it out too along the way. So that's what I did wrong there. But anyways, we got something pretty jamming. And I also added in a pitch bend up. I added in a second column here. And if we scroll through here, one of these, there's a pitch bend up somewhere that I thought was sort of a tasteful up on the lead. I can't remember exactly where, but it's at one of these vibrato sections. It sounded really nice. I was like, oh, I need that. And then I also added in this layer, which I just started messing with. And I was like, you know what? I'm at the point now where I'm sort of just going for it. So I should probably not do anything else. And that's that. Now let me make sure I am recording. Okay, cool. Woo. Oh, but now I just got rid of my thingamajigger. There we go. Okay, so what I was thinking about doing here, this isn't something I've tried to do in Renoise yet, but what I want to do is just repeat this first pattern. And then, so that's 28 long. So I was thinking about doing 32. Whoa, 3, 2, 1. So it goes. And then maybe doing that 4 times. Oh, you know what? These are all the wrong length. There's a way to change this in the song options, but I'm only doing it for this section, so it's not that big of a deal. See, done. And then you see it go bam, and then, you know, that is how you sing stuff like that. So let's go ahead and bring in the hat, and this would be kind of a cool thing to have. So this will slowly creep up over time. Instead of doing a straight note command here, I think what I'm going to do is just copy this, and I'll make sure to keep them in the same pattern. And I am just going to do a volume automation. So we're going to come over here, volume, automate that. Okay, so I'm going to put it at 0. So the volume automation in Renoise is extraordinarily confusing, in my opinion, because this is the track link, but it's controlling this, but that's not your fader. This is your fader. And it totally makes out the impression like this is your fader. But when you change the volume of your track, they have a separate thing, which makes complete sense. Now I can automate stuff and then set an overall level without having to worry about this later. So it's super, super useful the way they did this. Just at first, it was very confusing. So I'm setting an automation point at the beginning at 0 so that all my pattern clips will be at 0. I don't need to worry after this. So they'll all be at the level, even if I turn it down using my fader later, which is what's the cool part. So I can go to pattern 16. I also want to put one at 15 at 0, and it will snap to 0. And you can see it says volume 0 down here, and it snaps to it too. So it's got like a little click thing. So it knows that's probably a value you want to be at. And then at 16, we're going to put a value down here. And then it did that. It drew a line because I'm in line mode. Not a big deal. And then we're going to get louder. And I'm anticipating... I'm not sure how I anticipate this. But anyways, we need to get over here to this point. This is the point I want to draw from. Okay, so we put down our point. Boop. And we're going to get louder through pattern 19. And I'm not quite sure what's going to happen yet. And I want this to be at 0, right? I don't want it to be mega loud. Also, that's what these little triangle icons mean in the pattern menu. I have not said that yet. So if you're watching this now, you know... Okay, let's do that fade down. That was a good idea. So I'm thinking that's kind of hard to tell just from listening to this without foreground, because I'm not sure how familiar the phrase is yet from a natural listen. thinking we should split this in half. So we'll make this 16. And we'll make this one also 16. See, I'm not like incredible super expert at this. I'm not sure if there's an easier way than this, but this gets the job done. Micro editing usually has the benefit of just getting exactly what you want, even if you don't know the easier technique. So I don't feel like I'm missing out here. Okay, now it copied our automation, and I believe there's a separate paste command that will allow you to copy without automation, but this is automating our volume. This is going to be highly confusing. So we want from this point to this point to be like that, nice and smooth. So not a bridge anymore, it's a riser. Okay, that was a little unnatural. See, this is the part where we have the fun of figuring it out. I'm going to play from right here and then get a feel for this. Play it through halfway. Okay, we didn't get through there because I have other more severe issues. So let's go through and correct those now. The first one is the bass on this needs to not be on. So we'll turn that off. First move. Second move. This is very bright and loud. So we'll fix that by turning it down. And well, this will work too. The pad is still playing, which is perfect because then we can do this 0 1 and we can copy that so it'll start zooming up with us. Now, okay, I could see where two places this riser could go. I could split it at the 2 and go da na 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 bam, and then go again, or I could drag it out, be a little more sophisticated about it. I'm leaning towards the first one. I think that would be a better option. But maybe the second one. It's just I have more creative blocks if I do the second one, you know? So if we made this like 8, and this one 8. Yeah, no, we're not going to do anything like that. That's another project for another day. Let's Control X this. Let's make this whole pattern 8. Control, whoops, not Control A. Shift and Control V, where my cursor is. Oh, we need more space than this. 16. Whoa, go back down there. Get rid of that. I don't need that junk. Get out of here. And then something that's cool is to pull a sudden duplicate on them. So we could take this, copy it, paste it, select it, swap it, and then the counter. We could add a second note column here. So we're doing oh, that is so freaking loud. It's just because it's so high. I believe the other one and let's just fix that now. Let's cut all that by half. And then we will ideally be prepared. Let's grab our little reverse symbol again. And this needs to continue to go up through this whole thing. See, risers are fun because they just they can be really simple, really complicated, and there's just a lot of moving parts, and you got to kind of orchestrate how it all comes together. And sometimes it really comes together quite nicely, and other times it's just a freaking disaster zone. Like, look at this automation we wrote, and now we are not sure if that is what we want. So I think we have it. So right here will essentially be drop repeat, and not a total repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, of course, it's 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So like this would be like a reprise, essentially, sort of. Not really. Okay, so let's listen to it from the last two patterns of the drop. Just the last one. Okay. These all need to be actually, you know what? I don't need, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Try that. Yeah, it's funny. Go up, grab one from higher up, one that's got more data. There we go. This needs, whoops, did not mean to do that. I meant to hit shift over, not control over, minus an octave. Oh, I meant selection and pattern. Okay. We're missing our awesome reverse symbol here too, because this only has 16 bars. And the reverse symbol we told to play back over 8 bars, or eight lines. I keep saying lines, but they're lines. What am I saying? Okay, so we have 8, so we put on our note. And then we go down to the next pattern, and we put an off command. Cool. All right. Where is that sudden note coming from? That is... I do not recognize the origin. It's got to be a weird spot. It's got to be playing here. That's our symbol. Yeah, that's our symbol. Okay, it's definitely not that. This has something following it, so it can't be this. This is some of the fun of doing this. Is there a second note column that I ignored? No. Well, there's this thing. But that's not what was playing. The chords are the thing that are doing. They pick up a new thing. I suppose on this guy... Nope, he's got a note off. Okay, let's try lead. Oh, it's on the lead. It's the second note column. Ha! Figured you out, Buster. Figured it out. We got it, guys. We got it. Okay. So, actually a pretty dynamic song considering like the amount of stuff that's going on. And it's very satisfying having things that just like move in the bottom. It's like, whoa, automation, like it moves around. It's more entertaining and engaging to listen to as well as look at, which is nice. So, okay. Let's go from the riser again. Okay, I want to take this pattern 13, and you're able to, if we add another pattern, we could switch it to B pattern 13. So now these are the same pattern. And so if I make a change to one, it'll change the other. And on this, let's put an up command, and let's make it go up. Let's make it go up by like 9 here. So you see it's the same command. I changed my mind. Okay, so there's a disjunct here. Let's try that instead. think I've reached a limit. I don't know why it's not going up more. Let's try down instead. Down will work fine, I bet. Oh no, it won't work fine. I don't know what the deal is there. Heading with name. I don't like that. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to type in values. I thought the commands repeat if you put them over there. Oh, you know what? Let's try. I doubt this is the problem, but we could try it. Yeah, I don't know. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A, B, C, D, E, F. What's that? F. So it'd be 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. I totally could use the interpolate command. Oh, whoa, this is more fun. 7. Hey, it's not affecting the thing. What the jank, dude? I kind of like that though. No, no, no. I'm not totally solid on the glide command. Sometimes it takes me a bit of trial and error just because I read the manual on it, but then I forget what you read. You know that? I know that feeling. This is a glide 2, I believe. So from here, I believe this controls the first note. So the glide would be sensitive. And so we're going to glide 1. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So we say glide, and then we're going to glide from C to a sharp, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, going down. So we'll put G4. I don't know. There's definitely, it sounds a little different though. So I'm just going to run with that. I'm not going to sweat over it. Okay, so this is quite a few details. But I think we'll run through here. And then at the end, this is more of a structural deal. We'll add in the outro. And I want to end with things just like this. Probably should have 4 of them. And we could go. You know what? Let's do a fade out outro. That would be cool. Okay. And where are we at minute wise? Oh, we're almost at 3 minutes. So this is I mean, because at this point we could add a whole new development, introduce some new themes, do some crazy stuff. But we're just going to write a simple little track. So one of the things we're going to need to do is insert some off commands all over the map to clean our stuff up. So once you make one of these commands, you just have to copy and paste it. Whoops. As you can see, I'm typing in A on things that shouldn't be A. So you just copy and paste it here. It'll put off for you. Oh, but it introduces a second column. Not cool. My keyboard focus has gotten switched to over there. You know, you don't need to hit alt click to get it back to here. I've noticed this. Well, automatically knows I want to get back there. Whoops. I didn't want to do that. Off. And off. 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 Just turn off. Just in case. Be off. Be, therefore, off. I have this setting channel, and you can drop in an effect to use it, which I probably should have been using for the verb, but like my CPU is like stupidly low. So that's how it tends to be in Renoise, because I don't use plugs as much. The mix is the intense part. That's the part where it's like, okay, maybe I think back, I'm like, maybe I should have done that. But okay, so anyways, this will be our outro. For these, I want them to continue and fade out. Get some closure. Which, the lead is, I'm already on the lead. And then, this is 9, I believe. Try offs there. No, the volume fade was a better idea. I keep on wanting to use control over because it's better than hitting shift tab to get columns over. I wish they had done a command like that instead. Okay, so for these, I'm going to go up and just select the volume. Another thing I wish you could do, which if there is a way, someone tell me, is copy an entire envelope to another section or command one envelope to control multiple things, which I haven't explored every feature in here, so there's probably a way to do it, but I have been in the darkness as far as that feature, and I would love to be enlightened on a better way. Because some people are like freaking guru experts at this program. Okay, wait, that's just adding. And then here's where off commands make sense, more sense. See, it's over there, but look at click, it brings it over here. So cool. You can use cap locks too. I'm gonna hit Control-0 because I'm tired of the thing going down every time I put a note off command. Off. Be, therefore, off. Off, 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 off. When people say they're pissing me off, it comes to me with a whole new meaning now. I'm like, oh, it's just like Renoise. They're like a note in Renoise. I like that ending. This is one of those songs that just the ending comes by itself. and it's so colorful. Look at our amazing colorful thing, a little color coordinated. So if you haven't commented, you probably noticed I clip pretty hard when I'm composing like this, but that's just composition. But we have our thing. Now our drop repeats completely the same the second time. So let's go through and see if there's anything we can do to the drop to make it more interesting. Oh, one of the things we want to get rid of is we don't need this stuff second go around. You have to hit Shift Delete to delete the stuff in your selection. So what I'm thinking we could do to make this different than the first time was add a thing for the second part, like some sort of intricacy that would normally be maybe a little overcrowded, but because they've listened to this already, it might work. So let's try that. We're going back to my move 1. Whoops, hit 2 notes. Whoops. If you're wondering where this technique sort of is, this up and down, like da na 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 na, a really cool piano song. It's called, the publisher named it this. I forgot what Beethoven called it, but it's a piano sonata by Beethoven, written later in his life. I believe he was deaf when he wrote it. It's called Rage Over the Lost Penny. And he does this thing where he hits the chord, and then he plays the third, the fifth, and then down. And then your hand sort of strokes this chord going, but he goes through chords pretty quickly. Look up the Evgen Kissin, whatever. His last name is Kissin. He has this crazy hair. I think he's a Russian dude. His performance of this piece is like amazing. You should go check it out. I'm sort of drawing from that because of all the parts of the song I wanted to learn, that was the part I wanted to learn. So I practiced it forever. And if I were to look at it again, I could probably pick it up pretty fast because I picked it up as a technique rather than just a single spot so that I could do it with any chord. But I'm thinking about this because I'm going through a bunch of notes. So it's like, Side note. Down an octave. That's how you do that. And then at this one, we're going to go down an octave. Something weird about renoise is if you use, which I kind of like, so there's buttons on my MIDI controller to turn the octave up and down. But if I turn the octave up and down on my keyboard using the multiply and divide keys, it will change the octave on my MIDI keyboard as well. So it's like a relative offset. So my MIDI keyboard will display me in the wrong octave, but I love it because the buttons on my MIDI keyboard are not the most sensitive buttons. I have to push them kind of hard sometimes to get them to trigger. So having that's just really nice. Anyways, I was thinking of having this pulsing bass down here below to add some power and keep the interest. And just by adding a part like this can make it sound like an entirely new thing. It's kind of incredible how just that one little difference can make such a huge difference, because our drums just straight up repeat, but that's kind of their job. And as on the mix down, sometimes I'll come in and add a couple embellishments, and I'll also do a special listen where I just try and find spots where I could deliberately make the song more interesting without taking away from what's going on there. And I save that listen usually for later on down the road, maybe even after the mix. It just depends. I'll put a special listen in there for that at some point, though. And I'll go through a couple times and experiment with some things. Try and make it just give it that touch of pizzazz. Whoops, I think I'm off also. The D is not a good note. No, 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 no. Whoops, messed that one up. See, the nice thing about C in this case is it works with G because it's a fifth, even though the chord might not necessarily be a C chord. And it totally works with the F because F is part of that. And because it's the bass, this is essentially, it plays a role of a pedaled bass in music theory. That's what it's called, where you have the same note repeating in the bass. This bass moves around, so it's not... The harmony above it are the point is in a pedaled bass, the harmony of the bass are changing while your bass remains consistent. And so it can be consistent over 3 notes, but the most famous examples and the easiest to understand are when the bass is the same throughout a freaking crap long time. Like it stays very consistent, like one note, like don 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 don, and the top does things that don't necessarily match the chord the bass would be enforcing, but because it leaves from the root chord and comes back, it's very pleasant. Check out the track. It's another piano piece. This time it's by Chopin. It's the Raindrop Prelude. I also don't know the name of the opus number or whatever it is, but it's the Raindrop Prelude. It's what's popularly known as. There's a couple videos of some kind of creepy videos out there of people playing it, but it's got a really crazy backstory. I won't bother you with the backstory right now, but check out the history too. That's a good example of a pedaled bass. Not at the beginning. But it doesn't have to be in the bass for it to be considered a pedaled, but it's the most popular example. He kind of has a pedaled tenor in the middle. Like, I'm not really sure if you could call it a tenor because of the nature of piano, the way he wrote piano, but definitely a good example of a pedal bass. You'll know it when you hear it because the bass just does don, 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 don. It has this like undulating slow thing. It's not actually, that isn't the bass. Because the lower notes are changing, I believe. I don't remember the notes exactly, but there's a pedaled something in there. Wrong note. Okay, that's what I want, and let's see what kind of a dent that makes. So something I think would be really cool with this reverb. So this reverb has a mix knob, and a wet knob, and dry wet is a ratio. So you can have it completely wet or dry. And that's sort of a special thing. Sometimes this can be a harder effect to get if the plugin doesn't come with it than it first seems. So what I think would be cool is if we automate it, and to automate a third-party plugin, it's already added actually inside our mixer. If it was a VST, like an instrument VST or generator of some kind, it'd be a different deal. But you can see it pops up quite quickly. And so I want to do the mix automation, and I want to do it during these first sections. I want there to be some verb. Now beforehand, I want there to be no verb for the whole song. But when we get to here, verb. Whoops, that was a mistake. This is quite aggressive. So some screen noise can be a little difficult with automation. See, freaking stop it. Okay. When I reach the bass, oh my gosh, so flippin' stop doing that. I'm okay with this, I suppose. And then I wanted to hang out up here, zoom in, bring it down so that during the next section, there's no verb for when it turns into the bass. I wish you could do automation without it scrolling to the pattern. I believe there's a command somewhere. I don't know where it's at though, so oh well. Also, this may be covering it, but that's okay. So anyways, new drop completed after I got a little distracted a couple times, but I feel like there were valid points as far as examples of what I was doing. So here we go, our drop now with our new element. Okay, I thought of another thing we want to do. That's kind of how this goes. You listen for a little bit and you go, I thought of a thing. And then you implement that thing. And then you go back and you listen and then you do it again. Right here. So I'm going to use a command called retrigger. Another one that I only slightly understand. But that's part of the fun of composing, right? I know that C is cut volume. It's supposed to just a matter of memorizing what things do. But essentially it's going to retrigger and it will create, in the case of a hi-hat, it will create a cymbal roll. And here, I want our volume to be at 80, and that's the way it's going to be. Okay, it's a subtle thing. We'll have to bring it out more later. No. And then what you can do with this, kind of a cool trick with the retrigger, if you change the speed, you get like different sounding rolls. So like make that one. My phone has been vibrating a freaking crap ton. Just want to make sure it's nothing crazy. Okay, it's just some comment or something. Figure that out later. So in that case, it didn't really sound. I believe the second number. I'm not totally familiar with these. But let's try that. Whoops, I want to go up. Page up, page down goes by 16 lines, but I have to. There we go. So you gotta change the second number. There are things that those control, but I'm not gonna look them up right now. So I believe it's the speed at which it plays back, like how many times it plays back, but I could be wrong. I think that's pretty dynamic and full. I believe our next thing will be a mix down of this. Let's give it a listen through. So this is the preview. This is the preview. I'm about to show you what we just made. We didn't make incredible strides like as far as doing it. We finished the song structure, and I explained some things about theory and give you some pieces to go look up. That would be kind of good examples of some of the techniques I use here. So I'm going to play it for you. The structure's done. Most of the sounds are there. May add pieces throughout. And then the next video will probably be a mix down. So without further ado, here you go. Nice. So that's the song. There's definitely some pieces I'm going to change around, fix up. Some of the stuff will sound a lot more grooving after the mix down. But there's some weird stuff. I probably will just do that off screen, just fix up little things that just take listen throughs and eat up just a lot of time. But it's kind of necessary to just get a feel for where the track is at. But overall, I think it's a pretty cool thing. Been using all the techniques we've learned, and I've shown you a lot of examples where you could use this, and now you can sort of see a Renoise project sort of come together and some of the thought processes that go into it. as well as the songwriting structure. You just see I just approach things one thing at a time and take my time, don't get stressed out, and away you go. One thing I definitely want to change up is this section right here. It just sounds stupid. The down section right here is pretty cool. Maybe I'll do some verb. Another thing I was thinking about was on the lead. These are the things I'm probably going to do. I can tell you right now, I'm going to touch the that stupid pitch bend section thing and fix that up. I'm also going to definitely come in and look at of a part where we go from this high to the low. It's in somewhere in here, and I'm going to add some verb or something there to make it sound better. But overall, I think it is pretty cool. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If this has helped you, let me know too. It's useful to know that I've helped people. It motivates me. Subscribe, support me on Patreon, and have a blessed day.